Hi, I'm Laurie Wehring, and you're listening to the very first episode of Art Talks podcast. Each week, we'll be featuring Jason Irle, Executive Director of the Mid-Texas Symphony, Cheryl Fisher, Executive Director at the Brauntex Theatre, and we'll be featuring a special guest representing a local arts organization or the talent industry. Tune in to hear messages of positivity during the COVID-19 pandemic, and also to learn how our new Braunfels arts industry is being affected and is reacting. Today, I'm welcoming Jason, Cheryl, and Dale Martin, who is a local music expert and curator, and also an artistic consultant with the Brauntex. Dale also has a weekly column in the Herald-Zeitung about local music concerts and events. So, to talk a little about the purpose of this podcast, Cheryl, how do you see this being a force for good?
Well, hi, Laurie, Dale, Jason. Right now, we're challenged with a desperate need to connect and communicate with others. It's such a roadblock of communication right now. This podcast is a potential lifeline to help reach our friends in the arts, in the community, and share our struggles and victories and how we all might help one another.
I love that. Jason, this podcast was your great idea. Can you share your vision for creating it?
Just to add on, thank you, Laurie. Just to add on to what Cheryl said, this is a very important time for arts organizations. We're in the middle of launching new seasons, introducing, new artists to the communities, really trying to get some positive messaging out there. And this pandemic has sort of put a halt on all of that. So I think the vision here is to provide a platform for arts organizations in our area to talk about what they have coming up, how this is affecting them, and how they're being innovative and creative to overcome the adversity that's in front of us. And it's a platform. It's a way for us to have a voice during all of the craziness.
And remind people that you're still here, right?
Yes, and to remind everybody that we're still here, of course.
So as I said, today we're joined by Dale Martin. Welcome, Dale. Can you tell us a little bit about who you're representing today?
Well, I do work at the Brauntex Theatre in helping find the artists that we book to play there. But I also write a weekly music column for the Braunfels Herald. And as you can imagine, when there's no live music happening in your town, it's a struggle to find something to write about.
So, Dale, I've actually was really when we talked yesterday, kind of setting up this interview, we had a really good conversation about, that you're asking information from local artists. You put together this questionnaire that you're asking people to give feedback about how the pandemic is affecting them and their business and their livelihoods and their creative process. Can you share or preview any of what you're finding in that questionnaire and what the feedback is from some of the artists? I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, sure. Well, like I said, it's hard to find something to write about. So luckily, I had email addresses for a lot of the artists here in town and statewide and even nationwide. So I sent out so far, I've sent out about 50 to 60 emails, and I ask all of kind of the same 6 questions. Like number 1, where are you? Where are you quarantined at? How is this affecting you, your band, your whole business financially and emotionally? How is this affecting you? Then I ask them, what are you doing? What are you doing to, keep yourselves busy? What are you doing during this unexpected downtime? Then I asked them if anybody was needing to or considering applying for government help of any kind. Was any of the band members having to get the dreaded day job or what was going on there? And then last, I just kind of asked them, did they know, was any of their friends, family, anybody in their circle, had they gotten the virus? And if so, how are they doing? So those are the 6 questions that I ask everyone. And pretty much all the way through to everyone, the financial burden has been by far the biggest and the most negative. They've been basically 100% of their ability to earn a living is now gone. Some of the bigger acts obviously have, money in the bank. They have publishing money coming in or mailbox money, they say. But a lot of the smaller bands don't have that luxury. So they're really struggling. The positive side that everyone is saying is they're having time to spend with their family and their friends. I mean, they're quarantined, most of them with their family. A few are quarantined with friends if they happen to be rooming together or something. But every single artist has looked at that positively of like, now we have time to spend with our family and do things that we normally don't get to do. And so that's kind of been the positive thing from all of this.
I'm excited to know what kind of music is going to be created while people are, staying at home and sheltering in place and whatnot. Dale, it seems as though that there's a big push for virtual concerts going on. Do you have any insight on, what people that may be listening to can go to stay connected with these artists, or do you know of any sort of schedule that's happening right now for virtual home concerts that people can tune into?
Sure, it's a good question, and actually, my wife and I were talking about that the other day. I used to have a concert calendar in my weekly column. It listed all the venues in town and where everybody was playing and when and where. And obviously, that's all gone away. So what I've started now is a virtual concert calendar that'll start next week. So it'll start next Thursday. And as many as I can, I'm going to be listing. A lot of the artists are staying to a pretty rigid schedule. Like some are doing every Sunday night. Garth Brooks is doing every Monday night. Zach Walter every Wednesday. So some of them are staying very regimented in a schedule so that their fans can tune in and know when they're going to be on. There's a few out there that are just jumping into it for the first time. They're a little bit more spontaneous. Some of them are just saying, hey, tomorrow I'm going to hop on at noon and do this. So some of those haven't quite got the schedule down yet. But for the most part, I'm seeing a trend that artists are trying to maintain a standard schedule so that the fans know, every Wednesday you can have Walter Wednesday, and instead of at Freiheit, it will be at their studio. So things like that. So that's what I'm working on for next week, is to kind of get a schedule down in place that the locals can go to and find their favorite acts. But until then, basically, if you have a favorite artist or a local musician, a Zach Walter, a Drew Kennedy, a Stuart Mann, you can basically go to all of their Facebook pages and find them. For example, Monday night, it was very spontaneous. It started Monday morning, and by Monday night, it was put in place. They did a tribute to Merle Haggard, all the local artists, and they took turns, and they started with a girl named Courtney Patton. And when she finished singing her Merle song, she told everybody, okay, now go to Wade Bowen's page. And so everybody just hopped, skipped, and jumped around for an hour, and they did a really cool Merle Haggard tribute that came out really good. It was a little rough in a few spaces, but it was their first time. So I see that getting better and better as the artists get used to the technology. So I think you're going to see that basically from everybody.
That's really cool. That's awesome. And I think that anybody who's listening, to really maintain your connection and your, upcoming information and new things, look out for look for those local artists on social media platforms and interact with them. I've seen a few that are answering questions about songs and how they're handling everything going on, and the artists are actually getting back to them, which is pretty cool. It's almost like a virtual meet and greet along with that concert.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of them have some really fun stories. An example that happened last week, Willie Braun from Reckless Kelly, he lives in Austin, but he chose to go back to his home in Challis, Idaho. And since the cell service is so bad, he's having to record his stuff and then go to his parents' house and upload it. They have better live streaming at their house. So he's sitting out in the middle of a mountain range with a campfire, and he's singing the song Volcano. And just as he's singing it, Idaho experiences a major earthquake about 20 miles from where he was sitting. And he happened to be singing a song called Volcano at that exact moment. And it's all captured on his live thing. And it kind of happened obviously spontaneously. And so after that, he got in his Jeep and drove around and actually showed everybody where one of the old fault lines were and the mountain range that was formed. And it turned into kind of an educational geography lesson tacked on to the end of a cool acoustic song. So there's all of these cool surprises. Corey Morrow was doing one last night, and right in the middle of it, his little boy comes walking in and decides at that moment to start banging on the piano. So, there's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff happening too. It's there's going to be some spontaneous stuff, but it's going to be very unfiltered too.
Well, I just love that it seems like everybody is really pulling together to support all the industries that are struggling right now. Thanks so much for that information, Dale. We love having you here. You have such great stories. Are there any other thoughts that anybody would like to share before we wrap up?
Well, Dale, I want to know, where is your event or your concert calendar, virtual concert calendar, going to be posted? Is that going to be in the Zeitung? Is that going to be online anywhere?
It'll be every Thursday in the Herald-Zeitung. It'll be in the Thursday paper. And if you have an online subscription to them, you can get it. And then after it's published on Thursday, if you don't subscribe to the Herald, after it's published a week later, I put it on my website, which is martinsmusic.com, but I don't put it on the website until after it's obviously published in the paper. But you can find it there. Everybody that has a subscription to the paper actually can do an online too and see it. But I tell everybody, just stay in touch. If you have a favorite artist, check out their page. Most of them have a virtual tip jar set up that you can pay through Venmo or PayPal, and that's it. So a lot of them are doing it that way.
Awesome. That's cool. I look forward to seeing that and whatnot. And I know the Brauntex is getting ready to launch their season. So I'm gonna pick on Cheryl and you. Is there anything fun and exciting you can tease for us, or is it still still under classified information?
Well, the new season is about to be at least revealed, but we're still in the works on the strategy on how to launch it in the appropriate way. But we are thinking forward. We know that there's going to be a life after this. We want to be ready for it. We know there's another side, and there are others out there in the community that are going to need our support and help in this new normal that we're going to be living in. But the new season is going to be fun, and it's going to be pointed to getting people back together. We're going to be hungry for that, for face-to-face, arm in arm. And the season is going to be a little different. We're going to add some new things, a twist to the Brauntex lineup, and then, of course, favorites. This community loves its country. So it's going to be exciting, and just stay tuned in the next 10 days, possibly.
Fun. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you all for joining me today. And if you're still listening, thanks for joining us for the first episode of Art Talks. We'll be posting new episodes weekly on Thursdays featuring local arts organizations. If you have any questions, you can email us at arttalks@mtsymphony.org. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be back next week.